It's a new edition of the Bigfoot Journal, your twice-monthly Bigfoot news update. What happened and what's ahead in Bigfoot research and news, only on the Untold Radio Network. The Bigfoot Journal is now. With your host, Mike Luci.
Locked and loaded. Let's drop this shit. What is up, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to episode 9 of the Bigfoot Journal, your bi-weekly review of what happened and what's ahead in the Bigfoot world. If it's your first time joining us, let me tell you how this works. We sweep the internet every other week, highlight the top Bigfoot reports and news stories, and share our findings in a fast-paced 30-minute time frame. Here are this episode's top stories. You probably know all about the drone sightings happening in New Jersey and other parts of the U.S. Our lead story is covering the latest developments on the swooping phenomenon, plus we'll look at a bizarre connection we believe it might have to a potential Bigfoot discovery. With winter in full swing, we did a deep dive that challenges some long-held narratives about Bigfoot sightings at this time of year, plus we're covering some bizarre thermal drone footage in this episode's Report Roundup coming out of Washington State. We're closing out 2024 with a bang, so let's get into it. Episode 9 is officially a go.
News and updates are now.
Unless you're living under a rock, you're probably aware of the outbreak of drone sightings across the US. Maybe you've had one of your own? Our lead story will summarize the timeline of events that formed in recent weeks, look at some popular theories behind these drone sightings, and why we believe they could provide a glimpse into how the general public, along with government and scientific institutions, could react to a verified Bigfoot discovery. The sightings began last month across north and central New Jersey. Most were happening near sensitive locations like military bases, power stations, reservoirs, and critical infrastructure sites. These drones are mainly being spotted between dusk and midnight. Some are reportedly the size of SUVs. They're allegedly capable of avoiding detection and said to go completely dark when pursued. A few witnesses have reported strange experiences during their encounters, like malfunctioning electronics and hearing strange noises. These sightings are very well documented, with scores of people sharing their encounters, photos, videos, and theories. Since the initial wave of reports in New Jersey, dozens more are popping up across the United States. Bigfoot Mapping Project founder and host of Untold Radio's Mapping Bigfoot podcast, Scott Tompkins, even set up a crowdsourced map, which features dozens of reports coming from over 30 U.S. states. Despite claiming to have little information, however, government officials say the drones don't appear to pose a threat to the public. Having said that, some lawmakers, including President-elect Donald Trump, believe the military is aware of their origins and objectives. Federal regulations prevent state and local authorities from shooting these drones down, prompting many calls for law enforcement to be able to take bolder action as public frustrations and fear continue to fester. The theories surrounding these UAVs seem to fall in 3 major categories. The most popular one is that they're being operated by the US government. Others believe it's a foreign adversary like the Chinese or Iranians. And of course, you got those who think they're the works of extraterrestrials.
So my own guess, is that these drones are not nefarious in intent.
And to that first point, check out this viral video posted by Saxon Aerospace CEO John Ferguson, who offered his unsettling take.
Drones, the only reason why they would be flying, and flying that low, is because they're trying to smell something on the ground. That's it. There's no other reason for a drone to be flying in the air other than to piss a bunch of people off at night. That's it. So, my belief is they're trying to smell something on the ground. Gas leaks, radioactive material, whatever.
These drone sightings are creating a whirlwind of fear, confusion, and distrust as the public is clamoring for answers. But to bring things full circle, there's a reason why we're covering this ongoing saga on a Bigfoot show. We believe it's possible that what we're seeing could provide a glimpse into how the government and general public could react if Bigfoot's existence was ever officially proven real and recognized by mainstream science. There is no question these drone sightings have incited a wave of hysteria that's challenging our perception of the status quo, disrupting the comfort and security we take for granted in everyday life, and conjuring a primal fear of the unknown that's making many people question what lies beyond the scope of reality we're conditioned to believe. Relatively speaking, the discovery of Bigfoot's existence may cause a similar reaction that irreversibly damages public trust in government and mainstream science. Misidentifications, for example, are majorly influencing these drone sightings, and as we all know, are very commonplace in the Bigfoot world. They're causing people to label everything they see in the sky as drones, including identifiable crafts like planes and satellites. Public officials fear some people might take matters into their own hands and try engaging these crafts or shoot them down. In cases of mistaken identity, rogue actions like these could jeopardize public safety, air travel, and derail official investigations. These concerns broadly echo what some believe might happen if Bigfoot was ever proven real. Many researchers think the woods would get filled by armed mobs looking to catch or even kill one of these creatures. And in this scenario, cases of mistaken identity would inevitably have deadly consequences. Let's also touch on government awareness of these drone sightings. After facing the avalanche of evidence and reports, perhaps officials felt they had no choice but to acknowledge what's going on, even if they're withholding key details. If news of a verified Bigfoot discovery spread in the same manner, could they be forced to make a similar admission? Although people are demanding the truth, everything we're seeing about these drone sightings could be a useful measuring stick that indicates how the general public, along with government, media, and scientific institutions, might react if Bigfoot's existence was ever proven real. But more importantly, could indicate if the everyday person would be capable of handling a revelation of that magnitude, and how it could redefine our long-held perceptions of reality. We'll keep you updated on the latest developments of the story, and hope they eventually reveal the truth behind what people are seeing in the skies.
Bigfoot in history is now.
With the winter season officially underway, many Bigfoot researchers tend to stay out of the field this time of year. The short days, cold temperatures, and icy conditions can make investigations challenging, uncomfortable, possibly even dangerous. Plus, it doesn't help that Bigfoot activity and reports seem to slow down this time of year. Many researchers believe it's because fewer people are out in the woods, but that might not necessarily be the case. We'll dive into the data of winter Bigfoot sightings, why they're so low, and highlight some potential factors that could be shaping this trend. I examined 234 Class A reports posted on the BFRO public database from 2014 to 2024, and pulled two important pieces of information from them: the month of each sighting and what the witness was doing when it occurred. The aim here was to identify any potential patterns in witness activity or at certain times of year. Here's what I uncovered. In total, only 39 of the 234 reports I reviewed happened during winter months, the lowest amount of reports in all 4 seasons. At first glance, it seems like this alone gives credence to the fewer people are in the woods narrative. However, there's one issue that goes against this viewpoint. For this to be true, we'd ideally need at least a plurality of sightings in the spring, summer, and fall to happen while the witness was engaged in outdoor recreations like hunting, camping, fishing, or hiking. And that's nowhere near the case. In all 4 seasons, the vast majority of Class A sightings happen when the witness is driving. As you can see, I categorized these reports into 7 main sections based on the witness's whereabouts or activities during their sighting, and 145 of them, nearly 62%, happened while the witness was driving. In just wintertime reports alone, the witness was driving in 27 of them, over 69%. That's the highest percentage of all 4 seasons. Only 56 reports describe the witness engaging in outdoor recreations, like hunting, hiking, or camping, with only 6 happening during winter months. That's a small fraction of the total reports I analyzed. On average, Bigfoot sightings decreased between the fall and winter by more than 51%. However, the aforementioned data I just highlighted seems to indicate the steep drop-off isn't based on people being out in the woods. There appear to be other factors at play. To that point, I decided to regionalize this dataset and divide them into 6 sections: the Northeast, Southeast, Mideast, Midwest, Northwest, and Southwest. It revealed that sightings decreased sharply from fall to winter and are lowest from December to February in every region except the Southeast. Now, I know what most of you are probably thinking. It's pretty warm in this part of the country, meaning more people are going to be out in the woods year-round, which creates this season-to-season parity. However, in the context of Bigfoot sightings, the data reveals this to be a misnomer. Granted, it's admittedly a relatively small sample size, but out of the 12 wintertime reports that happened in the southeast US, 10 of them, a shade over 83%, happened while the witness was driving. That's the highest percentage among winter sightings in all 6 regions. In fact, the southeast US just had 1 report where the witness was engaging in outdoor recreations during winter months. To reiterate, the so-called fewer people are out in the woods narrative doesn't seem to hold up in parts of the country with warmer temperatures year-round. So with the data appearing to downplay this popular belief, the question stands: why are Bigfoot sightings so low during winter months? One reason could be the shorter days. I mean, after all, squatches are believed to be most active between dusk and dawn, so perhaps it creates a more ideal environment for them to avoid detection. Maybe some squatches hibernate or migrate during the winter, or this could be the time of year when they give birth. Although other great apes don't really have specific breeding or birthing seasons, large predators like bears usually have their young during winter months. If this is what's happening, squatches could conceivably give birth in extremely remote areas that are extremely difficult or impossible for humans to access in winter conditions. And while this might be somewhat of a stretch, depending on how intelligent you think Bigfoot are, they might be aware of detrimental factors created by snowfall and retreat deeper into the wilderness to minimize their chances of being compromised by any traces of their whereabouts, like the trackways they leave in snow. So if Bigfoot is real, the data appears to be pretty cut and dry. Sightings of these creatures do in fact happen far less during winter months. And despite the highly speculative nature behind some of those reasons we just covered, one can argue they offer plausible explanations for this apparent drop-off in sightings, which in turn could offer valuable insight to help us better understand how these creatures continue to remain outside the scope of discovery.
Report Roundup is now.
Alrighty, and this is our Report Roundup. If they're out there, it's our part of the show that updates you on the latest Bigfoot reports from major databases and across the internet. This latest batch of reports features some compelling drone footage taken in Washington State, a bizarre video coming out of Montana, plus a detailed map of Bigfoot sightings across the state of Indiana. You don't want to miss everything we have in store for this roundup, so let's get started. We're kicking off this roundup with a very interesting report from the Bigfoot Mapping Project. The witness says they were flying a thermal drone near Mount Adams in southern Washington state. While they were flying it back to swap batteries, the witness says that it spotted 2 figures standing near the tree line. The witness claims they observed 2 figures walk in the center of a meadow. After they seemed to stop and squat down, the witness began recording and captured this footage. After replacing the drone's batteries, they flew it back to the same spot, but the figures were no longer present. The full report has still shots from the drone footage, along with pictures of potential prints that the witness believes could be from an adult and juvenile Bigfoot. We have another one bringing us back to Nebraska 2 episodes in a row. The witness says they were driving home one night in the summer of 1974. Their car's headlights were off, which is admittedly an eyebrow-raising detail. The witness says they turned them on as they were approaching a bridge and spotted a hairy 2-legged animal crossing the road in front of their car. According to the report, the witness estimated the figure was about 8 feet tall. After returning to the area, the witness conducted a search with their brother but found no traces of the alleged creature. The witness points out how their sighting happened around the same time a wave of sightings terrorized the town of Oakland, Nebraska, which is about 60 miles west of their alleged encounter's location. We only have one recent report coming out of the BFRO, which describes 4 people's harrowing encounter with an 8 to 9 foot tall creature. The sighting allegedly happened on the Rocky Boys Indian Reservation, located in northern Montana. The witness says he was with his girlfriend, brother, and sister-in-law on October 20th between 11 and 11:30 p.m. He describes what they saw as a huge black gorilla that also resembled a man. It allegedly had black skin and hair, along with a huge chest and arms. According to the report, the figure stepped out from behind a tree. It put something in its mouth and stared at them for a few seconds before stepping out of sight. The witness says his brother recorded the encounter on his phone. Here's a clip of the footage. Draw your own conclusions.
Right there. Right there. There he is. You see that fucker?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Look, it's big and black. That looks like a fucking gorilla.
There's been a peculiar photo making rounds on Facebook. We usually don't go out of our way to report photos like these, but it's been shared dozens of times, enough to warrant a roundup spot. It was reportedly taken on the Navajo Reservation in northeast Arizona near the town of Ganado. It shows what appears to be a black human-shaped figure. Those who believe it's a Bigfoot point out what looks like a cone-shaped head, no sign of a neck, and what could be interpreted as broad shoulders. If it's a living creature, the figure was likely photographed mid-stride or hunched over, staring at the ground. Some skeptics are dismissing it as being the roots of a fallen tree. And if we zoom in, you could probably see what they're getting at, especially considering how its legs don't appear to be fully visible. Again, we're neither endorsing nor opposing what people say this image shows. It merely got circulated enough to make the cut. We came across an interesting find on the Bigfoot subreddit. One Redditor posted a map they put together of Bigfoot reports in the state of Indiana. The OP says they spent the past several months gathering reports from multiple online sources and first-hand accounts. As of recording this segment, the map features around 280 reports. Each one is color-coded based on when the report occurred and if more than one happened in a given area. Other Redditors inquired about specific cases the map features, offered suggestions on how the OP can vet these reports, and information on other encounters. The OP says they're looking for additional reports and sources, so if you had a potential encounter or know of any that happened in the Hoosier State, make sure to get in touch. You'll find links to everything in the video's description. And that does it for this episode's Report Roundup. Remember, if they're out there, you'll hear about them, and who knows, maybe the next one happens somewhere near you.
Bigfoot in Science is now.
A major anthropological discovery could add another piece to the puzzle of our ancestral origins. Scientists believe they discovered a new species of ancient humans dubbed Homo juliensis. This breakthrough is defying conventional knowledge of ancient hominid species by shedding new light on the diversity of ancient human populations, and it could help paint a clearer picture of where Bigfoot, if it's real, could potentially fit into the hominid family tree. Scientists discovered fossils that were estimated to be between 220,000 and 100,000 years old. They found remains from at least 16 individuals at sites in Zhuhai and Zhucheng, China, which included fragmented pieces of skull, jaw, and teeth. Researchers believe Homo juliensis, which means big head, lived about 300,000 to 50,000 years ago in eastern China. The remains exhibited unique characteristics like abnormally large skulls and teeth that were significantly bigger than Neanderthals, Homo sapiens, and seemed to indicate unique adaptations. It's believed the brain volumes of Homo juliensis could have reached up to 1,800 cubic centimeters. Scientists emphasize that head size doesn't necessarily equate to superior intelligence, so it's questionable whether Homo juliensis was smarter than modern humans. It's believed that Homo juliensis lived in small groups and communities. They may have manufactured stone tools, hunted animals, and used all parts of the animal for subsistence. Homo juliensis likely went extinct due to drastic climate changes while they integrated with modern humans. Researchers said they made the discovery through a new way of organizing fossil evidence. It helped classify remains that couldn't be assigned to hominids like Neanderthals, along with Homo erectus and sapiens, which contain distinct features in their skulls, teeth, and jaws that denote a new human species. While Homo juliensis can be fundamentally classified as a new species, it doesn't mean they were genetically isolated, as they may have been a product of mating between different hominins. Some researchers also proposed a potential relationship between juliensis and the Denisovans, based on similarities in certain dental characteristics. Scientists also believe Homo juliensis remains have similarities with the Zhuhai human fossils, which seem to contain a mix of features from Homo erectus and sapiens. Although a lot more research is needed to substantiate these findings, they're a reminder of how little we know about our ancient past. But they could also shape our understanding of Bigfoot's potential existence as a biological species. So to reiterate, the biggest takeaway here is how we only seem to be scratching the surface of our biological family tree. With the growing diversity among species in the Homo genus, it's reconfiguring our understanding of the evolutionary capabilities we seem to possess, and findings like these definitely bolster the odds of us uncovering more hominid species, leaving ample room for the possibility of an evolutionary link for something like Bigfoot originating from the hominid family. Having said that, the apparent discovery of juliensis seems to establish a recurring pattern of characteristics that other members of the Homo genus possess. but don't appear to align with the reported physical or intellectual capabilities of Bigfoot. Pretty much every major species in the Homo genus, for example, has shown strong or circumstantial evidence of using tools and living in social structures that rise well above rudimentary standards. While squatches are believed to use sticks and rocks as means of communication and possibly weapons, they don't appear to utilize them in the same complex ways as our ancient counterparts. Throw in how practically every Homo species appears to have been relatively small in stature. One could argue these trends might signal that Bigfoot, if it's a flesh and blood creature, doesn't originate from the Homo genus, and could belong to a different one in the hominid family or have one of its own. There's still a lot of research to be done on Homo juliensis. As of now, all we can do is speculate, but the potential characteristics and capabilities of this mysterious species could set qualifying standards for the Homo genus that Bigfoot might not necessarily possess. And while its discovery probably won't unearth any direct verifiable evidence of its existence, it might be helpful in setting parameters that could narrow down a potential fit for something like a Bigfoot in the hominid evolutionary timeline. Historically, scientists have always uncovered the most evidence about human evolution from skeletal fossils. However, new data from fossilized footprints is helping them better understand how ancient humans moved and coexisted with other hominid species. We'll explain how this data is getting collected, and if we're able to extract similar intel from potential squatch prints, what it could potentially reveal about how they engage in their environments. Scientists found footprints from two hominin species along the shores of what is now Lake Turkana in northwest Kenya. Believed to be around 1.5 million years old, these footprints may represent the first evidence of two hominin species coexisting and leaving traces around the same time. The prints respectively belong to Homo erectus and Paranthropus boisei. For context, footprints are considered trace fossils. Although they aren't physically part of an organism, they offer valuable evidence of their behavior. Body fossils like bones and teeth are direct proof of a species' existence. However, they can be easily moved by environmental factors like water or other animals and can provide the type of data scientists are getting from trace fossils. Scientists say the prints will provide valuable insights into how these species coexisted, providing direct proof that different hominins lived concurrently in the same time and space. More specifically, these findings could reveal how different hominin species cooperated and competed, evaded predators, and secured food. By examining the deposition settings of these prints, scientists believe the track makers may have crossed paths or missed each other by a few hours. Using cutting-edge 3D imaging technology, researchers created an entirely new way of studying ancient footprints. This innovative approach helped them find different patterns of anatomy and locomotion in each print, offering a clearer understanding of the roles cooperation and competition played in shaping our evolution. To bring things full circle, let's look at a few ways these same methods can potentially help Bigfoot researchers uncover similar information about these creatures. Maybe this could give a little credence to some of those stories about indigenous tribes living alongside squatches or interacting with them regularly. If we're finding evidence of cohabitation among ancient hominids, could it have occurred between Homo sapiens and the descendants of modern Sasquatches? The framework of the study could help gather more accurate data from potential squatch prints, like their pressure points, stride length, running mechanics, along with body mass and limb proportions. In cases of long trackways or frequent prints being found in an area, the technology used in this study could uncover details on potential foraging patterns, social interactions, and territorial or seasonal movements. If this study is any indication, then analyzing the sediment and location of potential squatch prints could provide additional clues about their habitat preferences and ecological niches, like terrain and patterns among environmental conditions. Moreover, the study's procedure could find more efficient methods for figuring out a print's potential age. This in turn can help create timelines for when a Bigfoot was present in the area that shed light on their potential periods of activity and historical range. If we're looking to push the ball further in Bigfoot research, it's important to keep up with these kinds of studies. They can identify parallels between Bigfoot and anthropological research that corroborate potential details on the anatomy and biology of these creatures. Applying new research methods like this can help form a scientific profile for Bigfoot and arguably make the odds of its existence more plausible through a scientific lens.
Bigfoot Spotlight is now.
And we have arrived to our Bigfoot Spotlight. It's our part of the show that highlights a few recent Bigfoot live streams, films, and events. With conference season wrapping up for 2024, we're covering a few podcasts that feature some familiar faces and a few friends of the show, along with one video that claims to show the most terrifying Bigfoot footage of 2024. So, not to toot my own horn, but to get us started, yours truly was a recent guest on Linda Eastburn's popular podcast. So I turned to him just kind of like to see if he was okay. And he looked at me, he's like, I think we should go. I'm like, why? What's wrong? Everything all right? He's like, I just have this feeling like if we keep staying here, like something bad's gonna happen. Like, I think we should go. Titled, You Were Warned When Bigfoot Screamed, I spoke with Linda about my research, a few of my core beliefs on the Bigfoot subject, plus some weird encounters I've had out in the field, including this one I had with Bigfoot Journal co-host Toby Crum. I saw it kind of like the section of window, like between the back of his head and like his car seat. And I could have sworn for like that split second where I kind of just like looked back down at my bag, I saw what I thought looked like a vertical upright figure. It was like white, maybe whitish beige in color, kind of like moving up the ramp.
Thing that amazes me, and this is clearly an older video, okay? I don't know how old this thing is.
Yeah, no
but
details.
When it steps, the gate is enormous.
Next, we're spotlighting a recent episode from our friends the Squatch Watchers, titled Leaked Military Footage of Bigfoot. Although this one dropped back in October, it's recently been making rounds online. In this video, Taylor and Dave break down an alleged government surveillance video that supposedly shows 2 to 3 Bigfoot-like creatures. They share details on the footage's backstory and a few reasons why they believe it could potentially be the real deal.
5-foot gate. This cat is stepping over a human. 5 feet. I mean, look at the distance. He took 3 steps, and look, if you just in your mind do the calculations.
To me, that's more impressive than the PG footage.
Next up, it's episode 315 of the podcast On the Track from the Unidentified Network. Titled Back to Bluff Creek, it features an interview with Bigfoot Times editor-in-chief Daniel Perez.
And he says, here's the tracks, this was the place. And so that's how they found the film site.
Host Jonathan Downs talks to Daniel about his new book, which goes in-depth on the infamous Patterson Gimlin film. Daniel also touches on his monthly newsletter, The Bigfoot Times, and shares his thoughts on other controversial pieces of alleged Bigfoot footage like the Paul Freeman film. Being a fan of Daniel, myself and the other co-hosts here at the Bigfoot Journal can't say enough good things about his knowledge and dedication to the Bigfoot subject. I thought Daniel and Jonathan had some great chemistry that made for a very engaging conversation, so I highly recommend giving this one a watch.
Just because there's a road there doesn't mean it's not remote. It's extremely remote. There's no roads there anymore. All the logging has ceased up in that area.
As the man drove down the long and windy road, he was shaken by the presence of this strange figure that suddenly appeared out of nowhere.
And last but not least, I'm featuring a video that boldly claims to show the most terrifying Bigfoot footage of 2024. The title is literally just that, word for word. With the end of the year fast approaching, the Wild Discovery YouTube channel breaks down a group of videos that they believe show some of the most compelling Bigfoot footage. The video shows about 5 to 7 clips with details on their backstories, potential height ranges of the figures in question, and some reasons why they think it could show actual footage of the big guy. They ultimately leave it for the viewer to decide if each one is real, so check them out and share your thoughts in the comments.
Perhaps even more interesting, the man noted that the creature seemed to have 2 horns sticking out of its head.
And with that, we got another episode in the books to close out 2024. But before I wrap things up, I got a few quick announcements. Starting next month, we're getting a new time slot here on Untold. Our show is moving to Tuesday nights, so our next episode is slated to drop Tuesday, January 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're also considering making some format changes to our show. I might add some new faces to our team in 2025, so be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, make sure to check out the video's description for more information on everything we covered this episode. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here at Untold and the CARC. If you have a story to share, questions about the show, or want the CARC to investigate your Bigfoot encounter, shoot us an email or drop us a line in the comments. On behalf of the team here at the Bigfoot Journal, we want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas, a happy, healthy New Year, We appreciate each and every one of you for watching. We'll see you in 2025.
Program is distributed by the Untold Radio Network. All rights reserved.